A man kicked a dog for fun, but he didn't know that Jackie Chan was the owner. The afternoon sun bathed the streets of Brooklyn Heights as Jackie Chan, the international action movie star, strolled calmly alongside his mother. The filming set. Atmosphere gradually faded into the horizon as they moved away, giving way to the typical routine of the neighborhood. Jackie was especially excited about the charitable project that would soon change the lives of many animals in need in the area. Dressed in casual elegance that contrasted with his usual action costumes, Jackie discussed the details of the event, while his loyal companion, an imposing pit bull, walked a few steps ahead, guided by the caretaker assigned to forge a stronger bond with the animal during filming. "The charity event has to be perfect," Jackie commented to his mother, who was gracefully adjusting her silk shawl. "It will be a unique opportunity to show that Brooklyn Heights can be an example of animal protection for the entire country." The pit bull, who would be featured in important scenes in Jackie's next movie, displayed a surprising gentleness that contradicted his robust appearance. The caretaker, attentive to every movement of the animal, observed with satisfaction how it responded positively to the specialized training. The neighborhood streets, usually quiet at that time, began to show signs of the agitation that would soon disturb the afternoon peace. The distant sound of motorcycles echoed among the historic buildings, gradually increasing as a group approached. "Jackie," his mother said softly, "that group has been causing concern in the neighborhood in recent days. Perhaps we should take another route." Before Jackie could reply, the group of motorcyclists was already too close. Their disdainful looks and malicious smiles revealed their intentions long before any action took place. The leader of the group, in particular, exuded a disturbing hostility. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. One of the motorcyclists, driven by gratuitous cruelty, approached the sidewalk where the pit bull was walking. Without any provocation, he delivered a kick to the animal, which whimpered in pain and surprise. Jackie's reaction was instantaneous. Years of martial arts training had honed his reflexes to an extraordinary level. In one fluid and precise movement, he positioned himself between the aggressor and his dog, his eyes conveying an intensity that made the motorcyclist involuntarily step back. "That was a mistake," declared Jackie, his voice calm yet laden with authority. "I suggest you follow your way now." The leader of the group, clearly displeased by the interference, revved his motorcycle even closer. "You don't know who you're messing with, Chan. This neighborhood has its own rules." The tension in the air was palpable. Jackie's mother, with the wisdom of many years of experience, watched the scene with concern. The pit bull's caretaker stayed close to the animal, trying to soothe it after the attack. "Rules exist to be respected," Jackie replied, maintaining his firm stance. "And one of them is not to hurt innocent beings." The motorcyclists, realizing that the situation could escalate into something more serious, began to back away, not without casting threatening glances. The leader of the group, especially, seemed to harbor a particular grudge. As the sound of the motorcycles diminished in the distance, Jackie knelt down to examine his canine companion. The animal, although frightened, did not appear to have suffered serious injuries. However, something in the pit bull's look alerted Jackie that this incident was only the beginning of a much larger story. Night began to fall over Brooklyn Heights when Jackie Chan and his mother decided to stop at a local cafe to calm their nerves after the encounter with the motorcyclists. The pit bull, still visibly shaken, stayed close to Jackie, seeking the security that his owner provided. The establishment, a charming corner cafe with large windows that let in the golden light of dusk, was relatively empty. A young waitress approached to take orders, her eyes widening as she recognized the famous actor. "Mr. Chan," she said, nervously adjusting her apron, "it's an honor to have you here. I heard about the charity event you're organizing. It's exactly what this neighborhood needs." Jackie smiled gently, but before he could reply, the cafe door burst open abruptly. The leader of the motorcyclists entered, followed by two of his cronies. The atmosphere immediately grew tense, and some customers discreetly began to rise from their tables. "So, this is where the great Jackie Chan likes to have his coffee?" the leader taunted, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I thought celebrities preferred more refined places." Jackie's mother, maintaining her characteristic elegance, remained serene, though her eyes betrayed concern. The pit bull's caretaker, who had accompanied them to the cafe, positioned himself strategically close to the animal. "This place has something that refined places sometimes lack," Jackie replied, keeping his composure. "Respect for others." The waitress, attempting to ease the tension, approached the newcomers to take their orders. However, one of the motorcyclists intimidated her with a brusque gesture, causing her to recoil in fright. It was at that moment that the pit bull, sensitive to the hostile atmosphere, began showing signs of agitation. The caretaker tried to calm it down, but something in the animal's behavior seemed different. Its alert eyes followed every movement of the motorcyclists as if sensing imminent danger. "Your dog seems nervous, Chan," the leader provoked again, moving dangerously close. "Perhaps he needs a little more training." Jackie slowly rose from his chair, his years of martial arts experience evident in every controlled movement. "I suggest you reconsider your actions. My friend here is perfectly trained. It's people who sometimes need to learn how to behave." The tension reached its peak when one of the motorcyclists, apparently irritated by Jackie's response, made a move toward the pit bull. The animal, reacting instinctively, assumed a defensive stance. It was then that Jackie's mother, who had been silently observing until then, stood up with impressive dignity. "There are things that money and force cannot buy, young man," she said, addressing the motorcyclist leader. "Respect is one of them." Her words, though gentle, carried a weight that seemed to affect even the aggressors. The leader of the group, after a moment of hesitation, gestured to his companions. "This isn't over, Chan. Brooklyn Heights has its own guardians and you're messing with the wrong people." As the motorcyclists left the cafe, Jackie noticed something odd in his pit bull's behavior. The animal appeared disoriented, staggering. Something was wrong, very wrong. Concern took over Jackie Chan's face as he realized that his faithful canine companion was showing increasingly alarming symptoms. The pit bull, usually full of energy and liveliness, could barely remain standing. Its eyes, once alert and bright, began to lose focus. "Something is very wrong," said Jackie, kneeling beside the animal. The caretaker, an expert in animal behavior, quickly examined the pit bull. "Mr. Chan, this is not normal. It seems he may have ingested some toxic substance," the professional warned, his voice filled with urgency. Jackie's mother, with her extensive experience in traditional Chinese medicine, approached to examine the animal. Her experienced fingers checked the dog's gums, which showed an abnormal coloration. "Jackie, we need to take him to a veterinarian immediately," she declared, her usual calm giving way to evident worry. Without wasting any time, Jackie scooped up his friend in his arms. The cafe they were in was only a few blocks away from Brooklyn Heights' best veterinary clinic. With his heart racing and his mind focused solely on his companion's survival, he started a desperate sprint through the neighborhood streets. The sun had completely set, and the streetlights illuminated his urgent path. People on the sidewalks turned to watch the unusual scene. The famous actor Jackie Chan, running with a pit bull in his arms, closely followed by his mother and the caretaker. Upon arriving at the veterinary clinic, they were met by a medical team that immediately recognized the gravity of the situation. The on-call veterinarian, Dr. Sarah Martinez, a respected professional with years of experience in emergency cases, took charge. "The situation is serious," Dr. Martinez explained after the initial examinations. "We found traces of a highly toxic substance in his system. This wasn't accidental. Someone deliberately poisoned your dog, Mr. Chan." The revelation hit Jackie like a physical blow. His mind quickly pieced together the events of the afternoon, the encounter with the motorcyclists, the stop at the cafe, the moments of tension. At some point during all that commotion, someone had managed to poison his friend. "We'll start treatment with activated charcoal and specific antidotes," the veterinarian continued. "The next few hours will be crucial." While the medical team worked tirelessly to save the pit bull's life, Jackie remained vigilant in the waiting room. His mother, sitting beside him, held his trembling hands, offering the silent comfort only a mother can provide. "Son," she said softly, "do you remember what your master always said? True strength is not in defeating the opponent, but in protecting what is precious. Jackie nodded, his emotions torn between concern for his friend and a growing determination to find out who was behind this cruel act. It was then he noticed through the clinic window a familiar motorcycle slowly passing down the street, its rider carefully observing the scene. The caretaker, who had stepped out briefly to fetch some necessary items, returned with disturbing information. "Mr. Chan, I discovered something about that group of motorcyclists. They're not just any group. They have connections with powerful people in the neighborhood, people who might not be too happy with your plans for the charity event." The early hours of the morning advanced slowly at the Brooklyn Heights Veterinary Clinic. Jackie Chan alternated between moments of deep concern and growing indignation. His faithful canine companion was fighting for its life while the medical team worked tirelessly on the treatment. Dr. Martinez periodically left the treatment room to update Jackie on the animal's condition. "The treatment is working, Mr. Chan. Your dog is very strong, but we still can't let our guard down. The next few hours remain critical." It was during one of these updates that the distinctive sound of several motorcycles broke the silence of the night. The group that had caused trouble earlier was returning, this time in greater numbers. Jackie stood up, his body automatically, assuming a defensive stance. The leader of the motorcyclists entered the clinic with arrogant confidence. "Chan, I've come to propose something interesting," he announced, a malicious smile on his lips. "How about we settle this like men? A fair challenge." Jackie's mother, who had dozed off briefly in one of the reception chairs, awoke at the commotion. Her experienced eyes immediately captured the tension in the air. "What kind of challenge do you suggest?" Jackie asked, his voice controlled yet firm. "A race. You and your Ferrari against our bikes, along the roads surrounding Brooklyn Heights. If you win, we'll leave you and your project in peace. If you lose," he paused dramatically, "you cancel the charity event and leave the neighborhood." The pit bull's caretaker, who was present, tried to intervene. "Mr. Chan, this is clearly a trap. They're not to be trusted." Jackie remained silent for a few moments, evaluating the situation. His martial arts experience had taught him that sometimes it was necessary to accept a challenge to resolve a larger conflict. "I accept," Jackie finally replied, "but on one condition: everything will be documented. Cameras, witnesses, everything recorded. No dirty tricks." The leader of the motorcyclists laughed. "As you wish, Chan. Tomorrow night, on the old road that skirts the neighborhood. Don't be late." After the group left, Jackie's mother approached her son. "Jackie, are you sure about this? There's something very wrong happening in this neighborhood, something bigger than it seems." "I know, Mom," Jackie replied, his eyes turning to the room where his pit bull was receiving treatment. "But sometimes we need to face the dragon in its own lair to uncover its true intentions." The caretaker, who had stepped out briefly, returned with more information. "Mr. Chan, I managed to find out more about them. Apparently, there's a major real estate project planned for the area where you intend to build the Animal Rehabilitation Center. These people have an interest in stopping anything that might interfere with their plans." Jackie absorbed the information in silence. The situation was more complex than he initially imagined. It wasn't just about a group of ill-intentioned motorcyclists, but part of a larger scheme involving powerful interests in the neighborhood. Dr. Martinez reappeared from the treatment room, this time with a discreet smile. "Mr. Chan, your friend is responding well to the treatment. He is a true fighter." That news brought a moment of relief amid all the tension. Jackie approached the clinic window, watching the city lights beginning to turn on with the dawn. The race challenge would be just the first step in a larger battle for justice and the right to protect those who cannot defend themselves. The night of the challenge arrived, bringing with it a palpable tension that hung over Brooklyn Heights. After spending the day by his pit bull's side at the veterinary clinic and witnessing its significant improvement, Jackie Chan now headed to the designated location in his red Ferrari. The roads encircling the neighborhood were strangely empty, except for a few strategically positioned cars with professional cameras, a precaution that Jackie had insisted on taking. His mother, although worried, understood that this confrontation was necessary to expose a greater truth. The group of motorcyclists was already waiting at the spot, their machines glistening under the streetlight. The leader smirked arrogantly while adjusting his leather gloves. "I thought you wouldn't show, Chan. Ready to lose your precious project?" Jackie stepped out of his car with the characteristic calm of someone who masterfully controls martial arts. "I'm here to clear a few things up," he replied, his voice firm. "And it's not just about a race." It was at that moment that something unexpected happened. A van from the local police appeared around a curve in the road, followed by several official vehicles. From the first car, a figure stepped out whom Jackie immediately recognized, his old friend, Captain Richards, from the Special Investigations Division. "I think this race will have to be postponed," announced Richards, flashing his badge. "We have some more urgent matters to discuss." The leader of the motorcyclists tried to start his engine, but found himself surrounded. Captain Richards continued, "We have enough evidence regarding the attempted sabotage of your project, including the deliberate poisoning of your dog. And this is just the tip of the iceberg." Jackie watched intently as Richards revealed a series of documents. "We uncovered an illegal real estate speculation scheme involving the entire block where the rehabilitation center was to be built. Your friends here were being paid to intimidate property owners and sabotage any project that could interfere with their plans." Jackie's mother, who had just arrived at the scene accompanied by the pit bull's caretaker, watched with an expression of understanding. All the pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together. "But there's more," Richards continued. "Dr. Martinez from the veterinary clinic provided the toxicology reports that confirm the premeditated poisoning, and we have witnesses from the cafe who saw all the intimidation." The leader of the motorcyclists, now cornered, attempted one last bluff. "You don't have any concrete proof of any of that, Chun?" It was then that a new voice emerged from the darkness. It was one of the motorcyclists himself, who had decided to come forward as a witness. "I have all the evidence, recordings, documents, everything. I can't stand being part of this anymore. These animals don't deserve to suffer because of greed." The following hours were filled with intense activity. While the police arrested the responsible parties and collected testimonies, Jackie returned to the veterinary clinic. His loyal canine companion, now showing clear signs of recovery, greeted him with an enthusiastic tail wag. Days later, on a sunny morning in Brooklyn Heights, Jackie Chan stood before a crowd gathered for the official inauguration of the Animal Rehabilitation Center. His pit bull, completely recovered, was by his side, symbolizing the triumph of perseverance and justice. "This center," Jackie declared, "is not just a place to care for animals. It is a symbol that we must always fight for what is right, protect the defenseless, and never give up in the face of adversity." His mother, proud, observed the scene alongside Captain Richards and Dr. Martinez. The pit bull's caretaker, now officially the training coordinator for the center, was already organizing the first rehabilitation programs. The streets of Brooklyn Heights returned to their characteristic tranquility, but now with one fundamental difference: a new space dedicated to the protection and care of animals, proving that true strength is not in intimidating or dominating, but in protecting and caring for those who depend on us. At the end of that morning, Jackie Chan caressed his loyal companion and smiled. The journey had been intense, but the outcome proved that it's worth fighting for what you believe in. His pit bull, as if perfectly understanding the moment, rested its head on his hand, a gesture of pure gratitude and trust.